Hi, everybody. I hope you can hear me because I'm broadcasting from an airport. It's Naomi Wolf of DailyClout. I am here waiting for Representative Heidi Sampson to hop on the live stream. We have bad news. Well, the good news is she fought valiantly. Representative Sampson is a Republican representative in Maine, and she very nobly took our clean elections bill, great, our election integrity bill, and you remember what that calls for: paper ballots, voter ID. So you have to be a citizen in order to vote in U.S. elections. It calls for no ballot harvesting, ending the process of just sending out random absentee ballots or bringing them to old folks' homes and hoping that people with dementia will go ahead and have their signatures affixed to them. So no ballot harvesting. It gets the NGOs, the Zuck bucks and the Soros money and also dirty money on the other side out of the process. I was astonished to learn that there are NGOs who are in the middle of our voting processes. This bill calls for only, government officials to be involved, the people that we've appointed or elected to be handling our vote. And lastly, public counting. So it's been getting incredible feedback. As you know, I was in Wyoming last week with Representative Tim Salazar and State Senator Tim Salazar and State Senator Bo Beitman, and they have agreed to co-sponsor it in Wyoming. But their legislative session, it's too late to pass it this spring in Wyoming, but they've committed to introducing it in spring of next year. And they said it's a really good bill and that it takes care of the major problems that people who are pioneers in this movement have shared about what's wrong with our voting processes. I'm really proud of it. Again, it was co-sponsored or co-written with Phill, Kline of American Voters Alliance. And Heidi Sampson also, Representative Sampson also said it's a good bill. It cleans up what needs to be cleaned, what's messy. Thank you. Oh, thank goodness. We've represented we've the technology. We've got many people watching on live stream. Greetings, Representative Sampson.
Hi there. You look lovely.
Thank you, you too. Well, as I've been telling our audience on many social media platforms, it's a good day in that we have a real patriot and heroine in you, and that you bravely took this clean elections bill to the Legislative Council in Maine today. It's a dark day, especially for me as a former Democrat, because I understand from you that it has been that the Legislative Council, which is the first step toward passing this clean elections bill in Maine, has declined to endorse the bill 6-4, and that vote has been on party lines. So over to you, Representative Sampson. First, thank you so much for your courage and integrity in fighting for clean elections in Maine, and tell us what happened today, please.
Well, it was pretty straightforward. I presented the 10 points and said this is a common sense return to the successful ways we've voted in the past, and please consider this request. And there were a couple of questions, one from my caucus assistant leader, basically not sure she liked all the parts, but then again, she's not looking at the language of the bill. And she basically said, this is what the committee works on. And so she said she would support the bill. And then the president of the Senate, when I had made the statement that absentee ballots would be addressed, because I had to be quick, and so I just made the points and what it was going to cover. He wanted to know specifically what does that mean? He said, if I'm a logger and I can't be there on voting day, I said, well, then you have a reason. And it's the whole point of the changes with the absentee ballots is to engage the vote. The voter has to be a self-starter on this. It's not that you're going to passively just get these absentee ballots sent to you in the mail. So you would go to your town clerk and you request an absentee ballot. You have to have a legitimate reason to need it. So it's not just this, free for all. So I didn't say free for all, but anyway, I just basically said it would allow some guardrails to be put into place.
Right. And so you had a brief time to make the case for the clean elections bill. And these were the questions that you got or the issues that were raised. And I'm just validating what you just said, as someone who co-drafted that bill. It totally allows for absentee ballots, but it's not a free for all. As you say, you've got to be a citizen and go say, I will be out of town, or I need to look after my mom, or whatever. And request an absentee ballot, as opposed to the situation we have now. I was just in Wyoming, and an election official literally proactively, not even an elections related official, sent out absentee ballots to everyone in Wyoming on their mailing list. Right? Shocking. So, so these questions were asked, and then what happened, Representative Sampson?
Then they voted, and it's electronically voted. I can send you a picture of somebody took from behind me, and you can see the vote tally, 6 no's and 4 yeses. And that was the end of that. They dispatched me pretty quickly.
Oh my goodness. And so the 6 who voted no, was it a mixed group? Was it as you described, a party line vote?
It was a total party line vote. So you're the Senate president and the 2 leaders in the Senate voted no. The House Speaker and the 2 Democrat leaders in the House voted no.
Unbelievable. Did they say why they were voting no, or the process doesn't require them to do that?
They don't have to say anything.
Wow. And then the ones who voted yes, they were all Republicans?
Correct.
And again, the process doesn't require them to say why they supported the bill?
No, not at all.
Unbelievable. And that's that, basically.
That's that. So
go ahead.
So, my whole reason for doing this is to somewhat blaze a trail, get this out there in the conversation. We have an election year coming up. I think I sent you a text of my thoughts on that. It said they clearly are embracing cheating. I mean, what else are you going to say? Right. And they don't want this. They don't want integrity. They don't want accountability. They don't want, transparency. They don't want any of those things. They want to be able to do what they're doing, and it's working for them.
It's so embarrassing. I mean, as you and I have said, or I'll just take responsibility for saying it. This bill is so nonpartisan. I've been a lifelong Democrat. You're a Republican. Phill Kline's a Republican. It's a nonpartisan bill. There's no partisanship anywhere in the bill. All it does is ensure that every voter's vote is counted, and counted accurately, whether they're whatever party, Green Party, Communist Party, whatever party. It is just about election integrity. And what I said to you, think as a political consultant, which I was long ago in another lifetime, is anyone who's going to stand in opposition to this bill is basically standing in opposition to everyone's vote being counted. There's no, and it'll, I mean, I don't want to say it'll smoke people out, but it's like, there it is. I think it's very newsworthy. It's a depressing day. It's a sad day. It's a sad day for the people of Maine who don't get to, have paper ballots and have their votes be counted by humans and have public counting, at least not till the next legislative session, where I hope someone will reintroduce it.
Well, I'm going to pass this on to somebody.
Okay, thank God. Thank you for that. But I was just going to say, this is the news. People should not be sad listening to this. They should be outraged and angry, especially people in Maine. And you should tell all your friends in Maine, that the Legislative Council blocked a bill to make sure that everyone's vote is counted correctly, a nonpartisan bill. And can the Legislative Council hear from people at this point, Heidi? Just what their
you could respond to them and give me your thoughts. I don't know if they would bother reading them, but you certainly have the prerogative to do that. And I do have to say, on a positive note, I had the most cheerleaders in there.
Really?
And oh yeah. And so they heard it on the War Room.
Good.
Yeah. And so I had a cheering squad in the background, not that they could make any noise, but they were there to support me, and they drove quite a ways to get there. So that really was awesome.
I'm really glad to hear that. And that makes a big difference. And it matters that there are eyes on this process, and it matters that, as kind of tedious and daunting as it can be, it matters that your people like you are breaking down for the people of Maine, people in Wyoming, for the people of Wyoming, how a bill becomes a law in your state and how people can get involved and change the outcome. This is so grim. Well, so what's your plan now, Representative Sampson? You've always been a champion for integrity and clean elections. I say that in a nonpartisan way. How are you going to keep working on this issue? Is there a way to keep working on this issue? What's your strategy?
Well, I have been working with folks on this issue. There's information. We have all kinds of information in Maine on, the fact that registered voters, the average for registered voters in 2020 was 102%. How can you have that? There's some interesting anomalies, and I can share with you the document that has a lot of this information that we gathered on elections, and it came straight from the Secretary of State's own data.
Wow.
So I think it's important that it's important for me to be talking with my colleagues, and I already have individuals that want to carry this bill next term since I'm termed out. So this is paving the way. Some of the talking points. I've already been done some test runs on those, and so this is just the beat goes on. We just have to keep on keeping on. I mean, what other option do we have?
I mean, this is why, honestly, I admire you so much, Representative Sampson, and the real leaders that I've met in the freedom movement, because it isn't going to be a quick fix, right? It isn't going to be a day's battle. And you are paving the way and blazing a trail that will make it easier for whoever gets this bill and moves ahead with it in the fall to be more successful. And the other thing you're doing is you're letting the people of Maine know that this is even,
Correct.
that it exists, right? If people are in the dark and there's corporate media and they don't even know a bill like this exists or that they can clean up their elections, right. They're disempowered. So you're empowering them by telling them and fighting this fight.
We're going to need to get people involved in the whole election process. We're going to have to get people to the polls. They're going to have to be all eyes on what's going on. We have to be smart about what we're looking at when we're at the polls. Right. And so, training people to understand what the process is, what you're looking at, what your rights are. Those are all important things. So now we go into, more of it's not really an offensive, it's more defensive right. posture on this, right. because we want to make sure everybody has their vote counted. And so the more we just keep the squeaky wheel going, and Naomi, what you're doing is so phenomenal, and you're just pushing this out. And then the War Room, it's exciting that you're doing that. It helps my end to have this being pushed out, and it's going to get some traction. And I've heard from an awful lot of people.
Good.
On various shows that you've talked about what we're doing here. So that's just how we keep going.
Good. Well, let me give you and everyone listening, especially people in Maine, or if you've got friends or family in Maine, that really matters. Wherever you are in this country, if you have anyone in Maine that you can influence or educate or inform about this bill and Heidi Sampson's work and what the Legislative Council did along party lines, I say this with mortification as a lifelong Democrat, you need to tell them. That's a really important role that you can play. But also, Representative Sampson, we at DailyClout will showcase any anomalies in your future work, right? If you want to do a webinar for how to vote in Maine, defensively, how to make sure, knowing what your rights are, if there's something anomalous, are you allowed to bring a phone in? Can you photograph your vote? Can you videotape a polling place? All of those things maybe let's not go into them now, but I'd like to offer for you to do a webinar for our audience, especially Maine voters, so that they're as empowered as they can be going in. Everyone, please let the Legislative Council know how you feel about blocking a clean election bill that is absolutely nonpartisan. If you have any doubt about it, you can read it. It is pinned on DailyClout. You can download it. You can send it to the Legislative Council. The Legislative Council's phone numbers and emails are on the website, Heidi, of Maine's legislature. Where are they?
Yep, they're up there. You can go. There's actually two links. There's a Legislative Council link, or you can go to committees, and there's a link for committees, and you go all the way down, and there's Legislative Council there. So
right, and that's
even they moved it.
Stuff or actual website.
Yeah, it's on there. The legislature, maine.legislature.gov.
Fantastic, maine.legislature.gov. So the fight is just beginning, everyone. You let the people in the Legislative Council know how you feel about a party line vote. I'm saying it over and over because I can't believe it, and it is the news.
And thank the Republicans who did
no paper ballots, no public counting, no end to ballot harvesting. I'm sorry, Dr. Heidi Sampson, I spoke right over you. What were you saying?
I just was saying, and thank the Republicans for supporting the bill.
Yes, indeed. Well, so I'm afraid I'm in an airport, so I hope you can all hear me. If you can't hear me, I just want to read some comments. KG says Maine is corrupt and trying to sneak through ranked choice voting. Hate the Dems in Maine. Is that true, Representative Sampson? Are they trying?
We were one of the first states to have ranked choice voting in our state. It did get rejected in a Supreme Court decision for local races, but our primaries are ranked choice voting in legislative seats, ranked choice voting for the federal seats. And yeah, so we do have ranked choice voting. They haven't gotten totally rid of it.
Gotcha. And another time, I'd like you to go into detail about what your views are about that. And so KG says we need the War Room posse to light them up. Of course, that's a metaphor. Don't arrest me. Ione Ernie says there is a spiritual aspect behind the Great Reset and the horrific events which are about to come upon this earth, because this is biblical. I literally believe it. I believe anything at this point. It all seems very deeply a fight between good and evil. Like, how can you have a clearer example of good and evil than a democracy in which one group doesn't want the votes to be counted? There is a spiritual aspect to that. It's deceit, lies, and the father of lies, and all of those things. Yeah. Mr. says, thank you both for your integrity and honesty. And on that note, I should probably hang up. Because otherwise I'll miss my plane. But I can't thank you enough. Representative Sampson, what we try to do at DailyClout is really showcase people that we can believe in, and people who believe in the process of the citizens leading this great republic. And, you're such an example of that. And the fact that you slogged it out and brought this bill, even knowing that it was a long shot. You've explained that to me from the very beginning, and you did it as a matter of principle and for the reasons that you described. I think that has so much integrity. I mean, I'll stop ranting for.
And it means the world to have like the War Room posse, DailyClout, those people with clout reaching out and just contacting me and just encouraging you. You have no idea how wonderful that is. And to have a group of people come to be there to watch me go down in flames, and just to support me. It was really very much appreciated.
Things may be chilly in the Legislative Council in Maine for Representative Sampson, but they are very warm in the hearts of many thousands of people around the country and around the world who are watching. So I'm going to sign off, but I can't thank you enough, and we'll continue to follow you and this fight and the election integrity bill in Maine, which is not dead. It is just a setback. Thank you so much, Heidi Sampson.
Safe travels.
Where do people find you? Where do they support
you? The best place is my Facebook page, which is Representative Heidi Sampson. I haven't gotten real high tech.
All right. Take care, Representative Sampson, and thank you again. And thank you all. Bye.
Bye.